Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Dear Venerable Sangha, dear Buddhist ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English news transmission on the online TV Weekly Buddhist Newsreel, a comprehensive channel. Here are the headlines of major Buddhist news of the week. Ho Chi Minh City Conference inaugurated on Sangha administration in the South area in 2020. Bến Tre Hiển Pháp Consecrated SIMA for Ordination inaugurated for Buddhist Calendar 2564, Solar Calendar 2020. Yalai Nuns of Mendicant Order Denomination practice retreat of Buddhist Calendar 2564. Hanoi touched with Sangha Requiem for childbearing mothers and passed away newborns on Children's Day at Tân Hải Pagoda. Hanoi, Vietnam Buddhist University organized the chanting ceremony of praying peace for the motherland and the people. Ho Chi Minh City Buddhism Today Foundation delivers scholarship to disadvantaged young students. Hanoi City Vietnam Fatherland Front Committee offer gifts to the children as social protection unit of Buddha Pagoda. And here after are the news in details. On the morning of May 30, 2020, the Conference on Southern Sangha Administrative Activities was opened at Office 2, Quảng Đức Zen Monastery, presided over by Most Venerable Thích Thiện Nhân, Chairman of Administration Council of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha.
Attending the conference, there were also Most Venerable Thích Chí Quảng, Vice Prelate cum Superintendent of Council of Patrons, Head of Ho Chi Minh City Buddhist Sangha, Most Venerable Thích Đức Nghiệp, Vice Prelate of Council of Patrons, Most Venerable Thích Giác Tường, Member of the Board of Information Council, Most Venerable Thích Viên Minh, Permanent Member of the Council of Patrons, and reverend dignitaries from provincial administration boards. The meeting was attended by Mr. Cha Quang Thanh, the Acting Director of the Southern Religious Affairs Department, Government Committee for Religious Affairs, and other representatives of Ho Chi Minh City Religious Committee. Most Venerable Thích Thiện Nhân stated in the first months of 2020, after the traditional Tet holiday, the COVID-19 pandemic occurred. The Central Sangha promptly issued documents to the whole Sangha system at all levels. In particular, it is a circular to provide instructions for the organization of the Great Buddha Vesak 2564 within the framework of the government's regulations during the COVID-19 spell. In general, Buddhist monks and nuns at all levels have taken the preventive measures seriously, and the role of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha is highly appreciated. In addition, the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha issued a document calling on the levels of the Sangha, monks, nuns, Buddhists, and sponsors to contribute hundreds of billions of Vietnam dong to join hands in the prevention and control of the pandemic. So, the world community apprehends the solidarity of Vietnamese people. Venerable Thích Đức Thiện presented preliminary review report on the Buddhist affairs in the first 5 months of 2020 by the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha through some specialized Buddhist affairs sections. Mr. Cha Quang Thanh praised the achievements of the Buddhist Sangha and said that the government commissions for religious affairs will coordinate with all levels to create favorable conditions for Buddhist activities of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha within the framework of the law, according to the charter, and the constitutionalized rules of the Sangha. Delivering the blessings, Most Venerable Thích Chí Quảng emphasized the responsibilities of the Buddha followers to be intellectual, compassionate, and cultivating to bring happiness to sentient beings. Most Venerable reminds monks and nuns to focus on the virtuous life, especially in the rain retreat season, and to raise the spirit of solidarity of the various religions. Provincial Buddhist Sanghas continue to guide monks and nuns to practice righteous dharma, actively contribute their ideas to the Secretariat Administration Board to prepare the preliminary report for the first 6 months of 2020. Most Venerable Thích Huệ Thông was grateful for the teachings of the Dharma Prelate, and he prayed with faithfulness to serve his teachings. Venerable Thích Minh Nhẫn also presented the topic of Buddhist communication in the Industry 4.0 era. In the afternoon, the delegates from sections, monasteries, administration boards of southern provinces, and cities raised their opinions on the advantages and disadvantages of Buddhist activities in recent months.
On the morning of June 2, 2020, at the meeting hall of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha office in Viên Minh Pagoda, Bến Tre Province. The opening ceremony of Hiển Pháp Great Consecrated SIMA for ordination took place. In witness of an undue religious guidance from Most Venerable Thích Thiện Nhân, Chairman of Administration Council of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, organized by the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha in Bến Tre Province, with 190 ascetic practitioners to be ordained.
In witness, it was honored to have religious dignitaries of the Council of Patrons, the Administration Board, and delegates of the government and 119 ascetic practitioners. Most Venerable Thích Nhật Tấn, head of the organizing commission, sent deep gratitude to the SIMA and promoted the high days of the lay elder prelate of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, Most Venerable Thích Hiển Pháp. Influenced by the COVID-19 pandemic, the SIMA has been delayed for about 2 months compared to the scheduled time on April 1st to 4th, 2020. On the mornings of May 31st, 2020, the ascetic practitioners aggregated into 2 genders. The male ascetic practitioners aggregated at Viên Minh Pagoda and the female ascetic practitioner aggregated at the Bạch Vân Pagoda to complete the procedures for joining the ordinate. On June 1st, 2020, the ascetic practitioner took part in the multi-choice test, exam writing, and examinations of the SIMA for ordination, followed by the test result, which qualified 190 ascetic practitioners for audience. On the morning of June 2nd, 2020, the Hiển Pháp Great Consecrated SIMA for ordination were officially opened in the halls of the Provincial Administration Board's office. In the morning of June 3rd, 2020, Bodhisattva precepts were propagated, the incense offering ritual were held, and then the closing ceremony of the Hiển Pháp Great Consecrated SIMA for ordination in 2020 were announced. One ordained novice of the Bến Tre Provincial Buddhist School, Thích Minh Đức, made the speech to make a vote to pray to the ordination, addressing the dignitaries in the Council of Patrons and the variables of Hiển Pháp Great Consecrated SIMA for ordination. The Most Venerable Thích Như Niệm, head of the Venerable of Great Consecrated SIMA for ordination on behalf of the councils of the 10 Master Venerables, delivered his teaching to the ascetic practitioners. Mr. Phạm Ngọc Thành, deputies of the Provincial Religious Affairs Department, congratulated the Provincial Buddhist Sangha and promised to create favorable conditions for Buddhism development in the province. The Chairman of Administration Council of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, Most Venerable Thích Thiện Nhân, bestowed the congregation. The Most Venerable praised and acknowledged the achievements of the Buddhist activity that Bến Tre Buddhism had achieved, and he congratulated the openings of the Hiển Pháp Great Consecrated SIMA for ordination. The Most Venerable emphasized the importance of the monastic life of monks and nuns, no other than the 3 disciplines of discipline, meditation, wisdom, which require the moralities of the monks and nuns who must diligently practice for abandonment of lust, hate, and delusion, which usually indulge the 5 steps in order to comply the entire discipline. Most Venerable Thích Lệ Linh, Vice Organizer, expressed the gratitude to the people who attended the ceremony as well as praying for the 10 protection measures for the Hiển Pháp Great Consecrated SIMA for ordination. The organizing committee also invited Most Venerable Lawyer Mr. Thượng Minh Hà Thông to have a few words of initiation for the anti-groups of ordained priests at the Hiển Pháp Great Consecrated SIMA for ordination 2020.
On the morning of June 1st, 2020, at Ngọc Trung Vihara, Gia Lai Province, monks and nuns of the Third Congregation of Mendicant Order Denomination officially enter into 3 months Rent Retreat, Vasa, of Buddhist Calendar 2564, Solar Calendar 2020.
In witness, it was honored to have Venerable Giác Hiển, Deputy Head of the Provincial Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, Head of the Culture Section, Abbot of Ngọc Cổ Vihara, Venerable Giác Khánh,
Deputy Secretary cum Chief of the Provincial Office of the Vietnamese Buddhist Sangha, Abbot of Ngọc Như Vihara. In the Ngọc Trung Vihara, the ashram led by Principal Nun Hiệp Liên, the nuns of the third congregation have settled to practice the Dharma Vesa for 3 months from the 10th of April, the year of the rat. The congregation includes 62 nuns, including 2 chief nuns, 6 nuns, and Reverend Bakuna from the friaries of the remote Lý Sơn Island and Dalat Plateau. Venerable Giác Hiển discussed the Truth 42, learning and ascetic practicing, and emphasized, studying without ascetic practicing is like a bag of books, whereas ascetic practicing without learning is just like ascetic practices in blindness. On the occasion of the rain retreat, if the masses practice with sincerity and proper deeds, it will be a great source of energy to strengthen the pure and peaceful spirit of the Sangha, cultivating Bodhisattva mind stronger and more durable, to have the cause of enlightening the sentient beings to achieve the fullness of accomplishment. The good faith in men and women also relies on vast virtue as a seed of the great Sangha, which promotes spirituality. Thanks to ascetic practices of Buddhism, the wisdom is developed. Thanks to the sincere practice of generosity and alms, the good conditions for Dharma will be firmly rooted forever. The monks' rain retreat season is a time for monks and nuns to devote their full time to cultivate the morality, sila, meditation, samadhi, and insight, prajna precepts. Monks in ascetic practices have days living together to coexist with each other among inquisition of Dharma truth, to create the capacity to harmonize and verify the value of tranquility in 3 months of Vesa.
On the morning of May 31st, 2020, thousands of Buddhist, kite male and female Buddha followers, women and parents who lost their newborns, aggregated at Tân Hải Pagoda in Hanoi to attend the SANGHA REQUIEM, praying for their dead newborns on the occasion of International Children's Day, June 1st, 2020. This is one of the profoundly human activities in the spirit of universal compassion and salvation of Buddhism, which takes place annually at Tân Hải Pagoda.
In witness equal honor to have Vedanta Thích Quảng Hiếu, Abbess of Tân Hải Pagoda, team leaders of the organizing committee of the Requiem, Buddhist Hoàng Thái, psychologist, has a cultural department of Tân Hải Pagoda, share touching story about motherhood through the topic Love the Baby, and send a message about the harms of abortion, how to raise a child from birth to adulthood, as well as alarming situation adolescent abortions in our country today, which ranked the first among Southeast Asia countries and is one of the top 5 countries in the world with the highest abortion rates. According to the Buddhist teaching, at the very first moment the conceived baby is considered alive. There is many reasons for parents to reject their unborn child, which means that they have deprived the lives of their children. This is also the message that Venerable wants to convey to parents who have abandoned their children since they were in their infancy. On this occasion, Vedanta Thích Quảng Hiếu has a ritual for fetal spirits to take refuge in the 3 jewels. The whole aggregation has sincerely repented and single-mindedly chant Buddhist Sutra and pray for the fetal spirit to be at ease in the pure heaven land. The ceremony is not only spiritual but also helps the public understand the profound meanings of the love for children. At the same time, it reminds the parents about the consequence that the Buddha taught. Every action has its karma consequences.
On the evening June 1st, 2020, at the meditation hall of Viên Quang Pagoda of Vietnam Buddhist Academy, Hanoi City, there was the chanting ceremony for Sutra of turning the wheel of the Dharma, praying peace for the motherland and people, illness healing, preferable weather, everlasting Buddha Dharma, abundance and happiness for people, good health and sound mind, developing virtues.
Witnessing the Venerable Thích Minh Quang, Deputy-in-Chief of Office No. 1, Central Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, Vice Rector of Vietnam Buddhist Academy, conducted the chanting and shared the meaning of the Sutta of Turning the Wheel of Dharma, how to practice to help people to attain good results of liberation to enlightenment. This is a sutta which was discussed and chosen by the venerable leaders of Central Vietnam Buddhist Sangha for the rituals of the grand celebration of Vietnam Buddhism or daily chanting and reciting sessions at the monasteries. The sutta was unifiedly used across the country and unanimously agreed by the venerable leaders of Central Vietnam Buddhist Sangha. The Venerable also guided how to sit, how to perform ritual to make it as solemn and peaceful. The mind must be peaceful and the body must be calm and relaxed, which will make the praying energy more effective when the Mass is single-pointed praying. The praying ceremony is not only a spiritual chanting ritual dedication, but also a basic learning course about building up, cultivating for a practicing process, creating our own ego for the Buddhist followers.
On the afternoon of June 1st, 2020, in the ceremony Month of Action for Children, held at Children's House in District 10, Buddhism Today Foundation, Giác Ngộ Enlightenment Pagoda, Ho Chi Minh City, awarded 20 scholarships of Nguyễn Hữu Thọ to disadvantaged students in district with a total budget of over 40 million Vietnam dong.
The ceremony was attended by Venerable Thích Nhật Từ, Chairman of Buddhism Today Foundation, Abbot of Giác Ngộ Pagoda, Buddhist Giác Thanh Nhã, Standing Vice Chairman of the Buddhism Today Foundation, and the leadership of the Buddhism Today Foundation. On the government side, there were Ms. Mai Thị Hoa, Vice Chairwoman of Ho Chi Minh City Children's Protection Association, Mr. Lưu Bình Long, Deputy of Movement Committee of Vietnam Fatherland Front, Mr. Bùi Thế Hải, District Administration Member, Vice Chairman of District 10 People's Committee, and the authorities. On the occasion of International Children's Day, the Buddhism Today Foundation mobilized the sponsors and members of the fund to join hands to support and care for disadvantaged children who are currently studying and living in refugee shelters, open houses. The children are from families affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Venerable and the fund's members gave presents and kindness to the children. At the same time, the Venerable also encouraged the disadvantaged children to overcome difficulties and try to raise up in learning to become useful citizens. It is known that educational support is one of the most important activities throughout the operation of the Buddhism Today Foundation, Giác Ngộ Pagoda. For many past years, in addition to awarding scholarships to children, the Buddhism Today Foundation also awarded scholarships to monks and nuns to attend the in-country universities and to study abroad.
On the afternoon of May 31st, 2020, the delegation of Hanoi City Vietnam Fatherland Front Committee offered gifts to 57 children on the occasion of Children's Day Festival, June 1st, at the Social Protection Unit of Bồ Pagoda, Long Biên District.
Witnessing, there were Mrs. Nguyễn Lan Hương, member of City Standing Committee, Chairwoman of Hanoi City Vietnam Fatherland Front Committee, Mr. Nguyễn Sĩ Trường, Vice Chairman of Hanoi City Vietnam Fatherland Front Committee, together with other guests in the delegation. Representative for Bồ Pagoda, there was Nun Thích Đàm Lan, member of Standing Committee of the Executive Council, Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, head of the Commission for Social Charity of Hanoi City Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, abbot of Bồ Pagoda, together with nuns at the pagoda. Mrs. Nguyễn Lan Hương expressed her deep gratitude to the Social Protection Unit of Bồ Pagoda, especially the Venerable Nun Thích Đàm Lan, for having provided preferable conditions for this program. Taking this opportunity, Mrs. Nguyễn Lan Hương wished the children merry and happy on the Children's Day Festival and heartily advised the children to try to study hard to become good citizens so that they can be helpful for community and society. On this occasion, representative for Hanoi City Vietnam Fatherland Front Committee offered the amount of 5 million Vietnamese dong and necessities to this social protection unit of Bồ Pagoda. Nun Thích Đàm Lan expressed her gratitude and wished good health toward local authorities, various levels of departments and enterprises for having helped the social charity unit for the past time till now.
Venerable Sangha, ladies and gentlemen, the last news has out of this weekly newsreel. Thank you for your attention and following. Goodbye and see you in the next program on PSO TV channel. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha.